start my interviews with like the sincere question, which is, how are you?
I am well. I'm doing well. I am wrapping up my first year of motherhood, and that's been a wild ride. So when I have slept a full night and I feel relaxed, I'm doing well.
How is that as an artist going through this experience? Because like motherhood is just like crazy.
It's crazy. It's crazy. And no matter which family members and girlfriends and whoever has come before with their wisdom, you're never, like, you're always shocked, right? You're always like, wait, nobody told me this, and no one told me about this thing. And I was really kind of cocky about it. I was like, I'm a great multitasker. I've got this. Like, I can compartmentalize,
Yeah.
I I can do all these things, but it really knocked me out.
Yeah. I mean, but also it's like emotional and physical multitasking.
Yes. Yes. And your brain gets rewired, which was that was like the biggest reveal for me. Because, you think like, okay, physically I'm going to have limitations. Emotionally, there's going to be things interfering, obviously. But I was like, as long as I can do my job and I'm sharp, that I was shocked. My focus, like, your real estate is completely taken up, right? So like I couldn't think, I couldn't be creative, I couldn't um, push those things aside. Even when you're like, okay, my baby's being cared for or taken care of or whatever, you're just
My
like,
baby's sleeping.
I gotta be there, like this, and like intrusive thoughts and all these like crazy bananas things that happen to your brain. That was for me the biggest thing, kind of equalizing my brain to get back in the saddle, because physically I wasn't surprised. I mean, there were things that I wasn't expecting, but I kind of was ready for that.
Yeah.
But my brain was hijacked for a good minute.
It's curious because what it makes me think is, does, intrusive thoughts, kind of the blurriness of focus, those are things that happen to an artist. Does motherhood amplify it? Does motherhood reveal it? Does motherhood kind of say, well, you thought you could handle that? Well, no.
Yeah, I mean, I think it amplifies everything, right? It's like everything is just like so neon, and you're aware of every minute. Like, I feel like I've never like looked at the clock so much since I was like in high school, right? Where you're just like, oh my gosh, like you're living a little bit differently from minute to minute. Whereas before
Hmm.
it was like I had like these stretches of time, like I was living by like weeks and months. Now I'm like, it's really a day to day where you're like kind of getting through moment to moment. So in that regard, I think you start to appreciate your time differently, and the time that I do set aside to work, and the time that I am able to focus, which thank God I'm getting over to the other side. I feel
Yeah.
like I'm so much more on purpose and intentional, and that's been really great. I think I needed that and didn't know it.
Maybe that's why they always say like that people get like really anxious and scared for their first child, and then the second one shows up and they're like too tired. They're just like, I'm too tired to be anxious. They're like, if you want to jump off the bridge, do it. Just make sure you're in eyesight.
I can imagine, but I also can't imagine, because I'm like, wow, I don't know if that would just do me in. Like I feel like I'm just making it with like one, like I'm keeping him alive. Everyone's alive and healthy. And another one, because I think about it, it's like, do I want to do it again? And all this, and you're just like, right now, I don't know how. I honestly don't know how.
I don't
It,
think anyone ever does. I think
yeah,
that the thing about motherhood and artistry that connects is that nobody knows what they're doing.
no,
It's all about looking like until one day you actually do.
yeah. I don't even know if I look like I know. I think I would love. I hope I look like I know, but
I hope I'm faking it.
yeah,
Like if somebody says you look sane and happy and good, I'm
yeah.
like, wow, I faked it so well.
Dang, now I'm like, I don't. I know I'm like taking stock. I don't think anyone has said that to me.
I've never received any compliments recently about how awesome I look and
Yeah.
do
Maybe
things.
I'll fish for some. Be like, do you guys think I'm like doing okay? Like, how am I handling it? But
Yeah. Yeah, like just like pity parties. Like, I don't know. I just don't feel like I'm at my best. Oh my God, yes, you are. You're
right,
doing your best, sweetie. And then you get your own like billboard size picture next to your sister.
right,
Then you
exactly,
get it. Then you get it.
exactly, exactly.
Yeah. God, it's so, but do you ever miss it then? Because I don't think there's any shame in saying everybody has said it, when you get a kid, it's kind of like the before and after you.
Yeah.
Do you miss the before?
Yes. Yeah, for sure. Like, you're 100% right. There's absolutely nothing wrong, mourning your old life or your old lifestyle. I would say I'm like there's things about my lifestyle I miss. I wouldn't say I like miss my old life. Like I think I have
Mm.
definitely leveled up. I'm so blessed, like all the things. But I do like miss not thinking about what I'm going to do when I wake up or not knowing where the day will take me or small things like
Yeah.
going out and not feeling like I have to rush home or
Mm.
it's just those little things that you absolutely lose and there's nothing wrong with feeling sad. There's a part of every day that I feel that a little bit, not all day, but there's like moments where I'm like, dang, like, it would be nice to just go on a weekend trip or, do get my nails done and not feel like some type of way, guilt, worry, this thing that I
Yeah.
rush back, or do I bring my baby to the nail salon and like make no friends there, or do I like
Yeah. I think you're right. There is a level of grieving who
Mhm.
you were
Yeah,
and missing that person.
I think that's okay. And I think you don't have to always have like the textbook answer of like, I'm just, no, like I never want to remember the old me. It's like, that's a lie. And I think we think of her a lot, like
That girl was
we
amazing
think
and
about
she
her
needs
all
to
the
be
time.
remembered.
Absolutely. She needs the billboard.
Yeah, she needs a billboard and flowers
Like, remember
and
when we were like fabulous and got dressed every day and
well, I mean, I imagine then like with music, do you feel like you kind of maybe you can use your song to write letters to her?
absolutely. Because you're really not. I think you're really not gone. You're just different, right? You've just evolved. So I think that person is absolutely still there,
Yeah.
and I'm sure when the dust settles, there's like there's more of her kind of coming out.
Yeah. Yeah.
Which I already feel more like myself than I did even 3 months ago, which is really great.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think I think when you are a creative, that's one of the greatest things is you really get an outlet for whatever you need to use it for.
Yeah.
Be selfish with it.
Was there a moment like in your newest work where was there feelings or thoughts that you were surprised you had? Because that's one thing that definitely happens when you're making music. There's a chance of self-discovery and kind of unpacking things that you didn't know were there. Was there a little bit of an unpacking? You're like, oh, wow, who knew?
I think so. I feel like those things are probably a little further down the road.
Mm,
Where like things get a little further in the rear view. For me personally, I think I
yeah.
needed to be a little bit more removed from the situation to really unpack it and to really be able to be honest with myself about it.
Mm,
And I'm still in like fight or flight. I think in a lot of ways, like I'm still in the
yeah.
Thunderdome.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I look forward to being able to express those feelings and thoughts that I've been having, which change from moment to moment and are all over the place, and it's chaos, and it's
Mm.
amazing, and it's like I said, it's a neon experience. So I think in the future I'll definitely be able to put that down into some type of expression.
Yeah. Yeah. If like I'm still in the airport. I can't talk about the flight yet. I'm still in the airport right now.
My ears haven't popped yet. I'm like,
Yeah, I don't know if there's going to be turbulence because we
I
haven't
haven't had a
even
coffee. I can't like I can't read signs. I can't find my way around. Like,
we haven't even entered the plane.
yeah, yeah,
Um, but I mean, it's true and it's honest and it's so interesting to speak to mothers who are artists. Particularly, I did an interview with a mother who was deciding to kind of revamp her career now that her babies were 7 and 9.
wow, yeah,
Just and she had entered a phase of kind of, 7 and 9 is this weird age because
yeah,
now they're older, and by then, like, damn, like, years go fast
for sure.
and they're going to be older very soon. And she was talking about how you kind of enter this epiphany of like, I really need to do something for me, and it automatically becomes for them because you don't even realize that, like, she was basically, what she said is, your first few years as a mother, you're teaching them, and then as they grow you realize they also learn by example, and there are lessons you gave them that you didn't follow.
Yeah, wow, yeah.
And she was like, I don't follow my dreams, and I'm telling them chase their dreams and I don't follow them.
Oh, yeah, wow. I mean, yes, and I think that's a great. I'm gonna like remember that when I'm having one of those moments of like, should I be doing less for myself? Should I be working less,
No,
right? Like, oh
never.
gosh, like that's my big one. Like, am I going too hard?
Mm,
am I pushing too hard, you know?
yeah.
And and I feel like those are the kinds of moments where you can really say, no, I'm building. I'm building for
Hmm.
me. I'm building for them. I'm building so we can grow up together so that we both have our own space. You
Yeah.
know, I love that my son will grow up watching me do what I love. And
Mm,
I never feel guilty for showing him that, I feel.
yeah.
And even if it, even if sometimes it looks like I'm not there, or if it looks like I can't pay full attention, or if there's like these moments where I wish I could be two people,
Yeah.
I never feel like, oh wow, this is just in vain. I feel like he's gonna be like, you know what? Like, I have core memories of like music in the house and
Yeah.
watching watching her process and watching her do her thing, and and I love that. I love that as like a background to his childhood, and I love that he'll get to hopefully have that same experience with whatever it is he loves to do, which who knows? Who knows
Yeah.
who this guy will be?
You might be raising the next Harry Styles or something.
Oh
You don't
my
know.
goodness.
You don't know. But
I
I think that it's, to continue our airport analogy, it's kind of like they say, put the oxygen first and
right.
then, and it's such a hard concept because the love that you have, it's like to put it on them first is to put it on me.
Right. Right.
And I think when in our interview with the mother, she was talking about that kind of, you push them harder, and again, but children learn by example.
Yeah. Well, and
They
also
really do.
you're like you are going to be a better parent if you
Mm-hmm.
feel fulfilled and if you're happy and if you're not pouring from an empty cup, and I think it's easy to distract yourself when they're little, right? It's easy to
Yeah.
kind of be everything for everyone. But there does come a time where you're going to need to go back inward and say, who am I now that people don't need me as much as they did for the past decade? Who am I now that, or in your relationship, like who are we now that our children are grown? Or, it's like you can go and
Wow.
go and go. So you have to continue, I think, to, and mind you, like I'm no expert. I'm at the starting line with this, but I know, I just feel like, um, I just don't want that for any of us. I want us all to feel like we are whole people who have been pouring into each other and ourselves simultaneously.
Yeah. Yeah. Because you're avoiding a massive existential crisis.
Yeah.
You are,
There's enough stuff that comes in without creating, right? Like,
yeah. You gotta. It's kind of like, I imagine, which I think every artist feels at one point. There comes a point there's certain points in your career where you're just like, there's an emptiness because you're not doing what you want, you're not getting what you want, and you feel like the world is.
Mm-hmm.
And
Oh,
I imagine that that's what that feeling is of people that you loved or you thought loved you are getting things beyond you.
mm-hmm.
And you don't even know what is beyond you.
Yeah.
Who is that version?
Yeah. And the world has just moved on. Like no
Yeah.
one has stopped. No one pulled over, while you did, and it's like, and trust me, like there's moments I think in motherhood where you have to, like what do they say? You're never gonna look back and be like, oh, I wish I like didn't spend so much time like tucking in my kids, or I wish I, like all these things. It's
Yeah.
like, yeah, like take all the moments, but also don't completely stop being a person because somebody else needs you, right? Like
Yeah.
it's
I
hard. It's hard though because it's a dance.
It's a dance. I think it's a dance. First of all, I just want to say our transportation analogies are chef kiss, airports pulling over. Um, and I think that
Brought to
I
you by the infrastructure of the world.
yeah, we got to get a bike analogy here.
Right, right.
But I think that I feel like it's a dance because at least like in my example, like using me as an example, I'm a very generous giving person. And I have realized that sometimes my generosity, while always altruistic, was also to distract from
Mm,
things that I wanted to do for myself, needed to do for myself, but didn't feel as motivated or as brave or even as like
mm,
desirable to me to
yeah,
help me.
yeah.
And I think that's where at least for a lot of people, including myself, the dance comes in of when am I helping to help versus when am I helping to avoid.
Mm, yeah. Wow. I,
Yeah.
I think I think that there's probably a lot of women who 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 do that and don't realize they're doing that.
Oh
Because
yeah.
just, we start to we're nurturers by nature, right? But we start to receive love in those roles. We start to program ourselves that that's our value, right? It just
Yeah.
what we can do for others, like who we can be to others, like, and then it's easy to make that your whole personality, right? Like your
Mm-hmm.
whole identity. But I think I think that's a really good thing. I mean, just stopping and being like, am I doing this because I really want to like stay at home and raise my kids, or am I doing this because I'm afraid to get out there and take a leap? I think
Yeah.
at some point you could say like, is this about them anymore, or is this just like I'm so comfortable kind of hiding here? You know,
Yeah.
with
Yeah.
anything, not just with parenthood. I think you can that, relate that to anybody who's, you know, people who are like, oh, I have got to take care of my parents. Like I can't leave. They need me. And it's just
Yeah.
like all these things we think other people, the world's gonna crumble if we aren't there. But it's like, sometimes you're gonna help people more by taking that leap and going out and doing the things that you always dreamed of.
Yeah. And are we and moreover, like the idea, oh, the world is going to crumble if I'm not there, or is it that I'm crumbling and I
Mm,
need the world right now to just avoid that?
mm-hmm. Yeah.
That I think that's the real duality, and I love that you said that because I think that you're of Cuban descent. You Latino families can definitely code the family in general, but I think the women of the family to be these over helpers and these over givers.
Absolutely. And also feeling the guilt from people within your systems, right? Of
Yeah.
of having to kind of like make the sacrifices for like
Yes.
for the bigger picture, like
The
for
bigger
your
picture.
family, for your parents, for a business, at like
Mm,
whatever it is that's glue. I think you can really, like, no pun intended, really get stuck there.
yeah.
Especially in certain cultures, I think there's a tremendous amount of pressure and guilt to kind of follow in line,
Yeah.
especially people, first generation, second generation immigrants who made sacrifices and they made the inroads to kind of create this new life. Like, how dare you break away from this thing that we built,
Mm.
right?
Yeah.
So I mean, that's like a whole other can of worms, I think.
Yeah. Well, I think what you said is true. And it kind of like hit me a little bit. I think that you're living life according to how you want it or want life.
Yeah,
Whereas when you are going through the immigrant experience or the Latino experience, there's so much of having to do what you don't want, having to live through things that you don't want. That I think that we're talking about two very different concepts of life. Life is just something you don't want, but it happens. You go through it and you just try to love and have as much fun as possible while going through things that you don't want. You don't want the job. You don't want the suffering. You don't want the systemic prejudices.
right.
But you have your family, you throw a party,
Yeah,
and we
right.
love to party.
Of course.
Yeah,
The backyard is set, like
the
the
fun.
lechon is in the hole, like we're doing it, we're gonna
Yeah.
celebrate. And
Yeah,
yeah,
like that's what you want. Whereas we're like, no, I would love to want my job. I would love to want
yes,
my husband.
yes.
Right?
Oh, yeah,
I
right.
would love to want, I want to want every aspect of my
Yeah.
life.
Or I would love to, yeah, be able to want who I want,
Yeah.
or be able to go for things like, like leave down, like, you know, um, maybe take a path that's not so conventional,
Yeah.
something that's safe, take risks, be a
Yes.
risk taker. um I feel like that's something. It's so funny because I growing up, I'm in Miami right now visiting home, but growing up here in Miami, which is you kind of, it's a big city with, it's very progressive, but then you also kind of, you know like peek through the windows and
Mm.
realize that like people here, um they kind of stay, right? They kind of follow their parents' path. They inherit the businesses. They stay and they become the caretakers, and the culture. I think even though you think, oh, that's like a huge city with like a ton of things popping off, there's still a lot of that happening, and I always felt that, not so much with, I think my parents were always like, hey, like go for things, but you also feel um, that sense of like there's not that like push from people around you,
Yeah.
your friends growing up, or you know people you would date. You just kind of don't feel that like push of like, let's leave and chase a dream, or forget school, or whatever the thing is. You just kind of
Yeah.
do what
There's
you're
not a concept of risk
right. Yeah,
because that wasn't what anybody wanted. I think that their concept of happiness was stability.
yeah,
Our concept of happiness is happiness.
right.
Because
Yes.
and it's just two, again, like two clashing, which is why explains why there's not this urge for risk, because wasn't that what we were avoiding, people?
Yeah, exactly. No, and it's generational, right? There's this
Yeah.
huge divide, you know, um, and everything kind of, all the mentality switched, I think, um, with our generation. And I think there's just a misunderstanding between the two, and and it's interesting. And I think a lot of people feel a lot of pressure and a lot of feelings still from just kind of wanting to do something that doesn't look like their version of a good life, like
Yeah.
we don't mind the uncomfortable places. Like we feel like, right? Like we like to be a little bit
There's
uncomfortable.
adventure there.
Adventure, experience, right? Like we're big on that. Like we want to
Yeah.
experience
Yeah.
things.
And for them, that's like discomfort is not adventurous at all.
No, it's not fun. There's it's yeah, and it's really interesting. There's a huge difference in, I think, from one generation to the very next.
Yeah, for sure. Well, I mean, I always end interviews like reading like tarots and stuff and oracles that might encourage. Do you want that? Do you like a oracle reading or?
Do you like to read energies?
Yeah. Well, I mean, I don't know because I always felt like oracle cards. There's tarots, which
Uh-huh.
people love because it's supposed to go into the future. But I like oracle cards because they're kind of like you're gonna have a good day and things are
Yeah.
gonna get better, and you just need to hold on to hope. And
Hold on.
I think that how you frame your life is how you frame time, past, present, and future.
Yeah.
And I think that the danger with tarots and oracles is that most of us were not framing time right.
Mm-hmm.
Like there is a level of kind of what you were saying, like, am I spending my time right?
Yeah.
Am
Yeah.
I am I wasting time? Am I doing too much?
Right.
Our relationship with time is really toxic
Yeah.
because
Oh, yeah.
it's like a dark cloud over us,
Right.
all of us, like like the years are passing and you're kind of like the dark cloud is like tick 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 and you're like, well, there should be more, I should be doing
Yeah.
something.
When if you talk to the like certain people, they'll tell you that like it's actually speeding up. Like scientifically, that like it doesn't just feel like days are passing quicker, they're actually passing quicker, which is like that's the most anxious thought I've ever heard, right?
Stop it. Why
Like the
would you
sun
give me that anxiety?
no,
Why
but
would
like
you give
the sun
me
is the sun
that?
is actually speeding up by like bajillionths of a second, and it is moving faster. So like this feeling we have of like, man, the day like it's just one long string of Fridays, right? Like doesn't it just feel like the weeks are passing like at a very strange rate?
They're passing like water. I feel like I wake up and then like I blink and it's 8 p.m. and I'm like, I did nothing.
It is a scary rabbit hole to go down, but if you like look it up, it's happening, and it's that to me I'm just like, okay, if that doesn't tell you just like let it go, like let go and let God,
Yes,
what
yes.
does? Because we're never going to beat it, right? It's a losing
You
game.
can't beat the sun.
We can't beat the sun, we can't beat time, and we just have to stay hydrated and and follow our happiness. And I think, what else, right? Go to the barbecue.
Just
You know,
stay hydrated.
don't fight
Let it
anybody.
go.
Don't talk about politics. Like, bring a
Eat
dish.
some
Have dinner.
lechon.
That's right.
Shush.
That's right.
Yeah, definitely. That was the most anxious thought
You know what?
anyone has
Just
ever tossed in me.
delete it. Just forget. Like my hairstylist told me that, and I was like, dude, I'm like
Ah,
I'm like telling everybody because I'm just like, this is real. Like,
to do that while you're doing your hair,
I
that's cold. That's cold.
I know.
That's
No,
cold.
we solve all the world's problems. It takes so long for me to get blonde that like we could literally hold a full court.
My
You
friend
know?
was like, who was my friend went to like a rave with a group of friends and she was talking about like one of them is like really into scientific facts and they're all dancing and he was saying how everybody's like dun, 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 dun. Did you know that our brain actually grows in intelligence with the more vegetables we eat?
Oh
And
no.
it's just like, okay, okay.
That's yeah, like that sounds like somebody who's like not been in the not been in the game for a while. It's like
Yeah, that no, he always does that, but it's one of those like, that's interesting,
right,
but
it's
it's
like
also like,
there's a time and a place, dude.
why
Like
here? Why
yeah,
now?
right. Why
Why?
now? Yeah.
Why are we talking about this? But do you want me to get you some oracles?
Okay.
Okay, so then let me. Okay, let me get it. Ooh. Okay, nice stuff. Nice. Okay, so the cards you got are the Queen of Scrolls, which is basically somebody who's entering a really creative and also oddly legal time. Like this is a time of like making foundations that end up becoming businesses and systems and kind of using your creativity to make things that are like it's like a factory. So
I like it.
it's kind of like maybe you'll sign contracts, things like that. Summer, winter, five of forces. So what this is a card that means somebody who's about to kind of and needs to kind of open up to the summer, leave the winter behind. all those feelings of lostness and feelings of kind of, where am I supposed to go? What am I doing? Because the next card you got was the waterfall, which is six of forces. And forces are all about energies.
Right.
Scrolls of this oracle deck are all about like writing and creativity, but also like legal documents, contracts. So the waterfall is just like, when these two cards come together, it's kind of like just letting, exactly what you said, letting things flow, kind of opening your heart to, so that the universe opens back to you.
Yes. I love that.
So those are some really, I'll pick out three more, but those are some really positive cards of kind of entering businesses and kind of not entering them with fear or confusion, kind of. And it feels like it goes with what you've been saying a little bit of kind of, you're trying to get back to the old you.
Yeah.
A little bit, and the old you was a little fearless and fun and had time for her. And I think those cards are kind of saying the same thing, which is that if you open up to the old you who had time would then become a benefit. The sun will slow.
Yeah. Yes. Oh, we need it. We need it.
The sun will slow. So
You know,
you got the kind of, you got this one upside down and these two, which is, this one means home and this one means like light, and you got them upside down, but I don't feel it means darkness, because what you got here is one of keys, and keys means money, and the first card of it is
nice.
called the architect, so it means somebody who's building. So when you get light and home upside down, and then this card upside right, or upside like upright, what it tells me is just that you are, when you're entering a building phase, how you define home and how you define light become redefined. And if you combine that message with the message you got before of just being open and kind of releasing and relieving and just going and flowing, what this is saying is, don't be scared of how you change. Don't be scared of the changes that come, because you're the builder. So any changes that come, you build them into changes you want. If that makes any
Nice.
sense.
Yeah.
I dig that.
100%.
Those are
Yeah.
good.
So do I.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Those are
I
really
love that.
positive cards. You see, that's what I like. That's what
Yeah. Yeah.
people need to feel better.
Yeah. 100%. Yeah. And
Mm,
confident.
yeah. Better,
It's the worry,
confident.
worry, it's so unnecessary, right? Like it's just, but yet we just absorb it.
It's the most unnecessary thing that we all do every day.
Yeah. So easy to say, but like it's harder to
Yeah.
practice. But it's absolutely, you know?
I love when I say it, because it's like, really, but it's like,
Yeah.
go with you guys need to calm down.
Yeah.
like I
But
didn't
it's true.
like I didn't just panic in the bathroom. Like, you guys need to just calm down.
Everybody does. Like we're so like the world is so uptight right now. Like you just feel it. There's so much tension and there's so much insecurity and we're all afraid to like say anything and
Real.
it's really it's interesting. Like I always feel like the pendulum swings, right? So it's like it has to like we can't go any further down this road. I feel of just like fear and like tension. I just feel like that's the word, right? It's just like this,
Yeah. The light has to come.
right?
It's like, seriously, like, just
Right.
show
Right. Like some
up.
relief and just let people be themselves, and I think that they divide themselves, like the garbage from the good, and like it's always worked, but like we don't
Yeah.
have to, we're not responsible for that, like just censorship and edit, like being like making sure people don't say it's just like it they'll do that to themselves, like they'll condemn themselves, like they'll like
Yeah.
but I just think everyone needs to just be empathetic and calm down.
I think that the compassion you show to others is the compassion you show to yourself.
Yeah.
And if we're living in probably some of the most hateful, dark times, it means that a lot of people are not loving themselves. And if you don't love you, you're not going to love me, or you're not
Yeah.
going to know how to love me right. And I
Yeah.
think that that lack of love is why even our attempts to do justice or kind of stop hate, they
Yeah.
just don't hit right, because
Right.
it's like I can't be a speaker of peace and I have no peace with myself.
Mm.
Like
Yeah.
who am I, where am I leading the people, you
Mm-hmm.
know? Where am I
Yeah.
leading the people to peace, to the river? I don't even
Right.
have a sense of direction. I
Absolutely.
don't even have water.
Right. Right.
you
Right.
know? And I think that there are a lot of people who want to be leaders or are trying to be leaders, but they're so internally fractured. And
Mm.
it's not just about how the darkness of the world eats at them, it's how their own darkness eats at them.
Yeah. Yeah.
We got to resolve
Right.
that.
Much to carry for sure. You
Yeah.
know.
But this was a great interview. I had so much fun.
So did I. You're delightful, and thank you for having me and inviting me and sharing your time and platform with me. I
Yay.
appreciate it.
And I wish you all the luck in the
Same.
world.
Thank you. I'm glad we connected, and yeah, this was a lot
Yeah.
of fun.
I'll send you the link when it's up.
Amazing.
Okay.
I look forward to share it and all the things.
Yay. Okay. I will see you. Have a good day.
Thanks so much, Diandra. Good to meet you.
Bye. Good. Nice to meet you. Bye.